So if you have to insulate your source of income, because that's the first thing they come after. The first thing, if you sin against the modern pieties, the first thing they do is try to make sure you lose your job. And that's often very successful. So that's why so many people are anonymous online. I'm constantly getting people in touch with me telling me they can't say what they really think. And, sadly, sometimes they're in child safeguarding positions. The first time I talked to a gender doctor, we had to do it real cloak and dagger. She wouldn't tell me her full name. It was via somebody else I knew who was able to vouch for her really working in the Tavistock. And I mean, a million times she said to me, you can't say any of this, you can't say any of this. This is somebody who's actually putting children on a path to medical transition, but she couldn't talk about it at work. And we've seen a recent case here with a whistleblower in the Tavistock who won her employment tribunal because she raised child safeguarding issues, and the management told the clinicians not to go to her. So yeah, your employer is your point of weakness. And if your employer isn't brave, doesn't like telling bullies where to go, then you have a big problem. And I would not advise anyone to do what I did unless moral imperatives required, which they did in my case. I mean, I took a chance. Once I found out they were sterilizing children, Dan, it's all over. Like, if that isn't the moment that you are willing to speak out, then, you can say to yourself, you can look back at, that famous poem, the one, they came for the, you'd have been the person who was still sitting there. If you hear that they're sterilizing children and they're putting rapists in women's jails, and that does not make you act, that tells you something about yourself, okay? Anyway, if that's not how you feel about it, your employer is your point of weakness. And the second thing is, I'm not sure what the public shaming, what you're meant to make of that when you despise the people who are doing it. Like, if somebody is willing to make up lies about me and quote things from my book that I didn't say, I think so ill of them that their opinion of me is simply irrelevant to me. And I've met such brilliant people through this. There's so many fantastic friends and fantastic thinkers that I've met, and their opinion matters to me. I don't care about liars and fools. And then the third thing I would say is those are the tiny minority. These shouting people are not representative of anyone. And you said that about the trans community. It's actually a style thing at The Economist. We don't use the word community in these circumstances. What is the trans community? Yeah. They're individuals. Some of them are conservative. Some of them are liberal. Some of them are straight. Some of them are gay. Some are male. Some are female. And even if they all have the same, of those characteristics, they're different individuals. They have really, really different ideas about all of this. And I would say the trans activists are the worst representatives of a group that they purport to speak to that I have ever seen. I've never seen a group that's so ill-served by its activists. I mean, they are really bringing that whole community towards what will be a horrendous backlash that I do not want to see. Yeah. I sometimes say I'm trans people's best friend. Yeah. Because I'm the one who's trying to stop a swing towards total insanity that's going to cause a horrendous backlash that will also hit gay people, by the way. So, remember that these people who are shouting at you are really not good people, and they're really not representative of anyone. Most people are not like that. Those are the 3 bits of advice I'd give.
Yeah, I think that's well put. And I'd be curious to know if you really think there is anything to fear related to these people, right? Like you mentioned
violence.
You said the first thing they come after is your paycheck, right? They try to get you fired so that your livelihood is gone.
And they succeed. They succeed all the time.
Outside of that, is there a reason to concern for physical safety? Is that something that you have considered or has been an issue for you?
I mean, I don't want to tempt fate, but not really. My experience has been that they are the most pathetic bullies I've ever seen, and bullies go for easy victims. So if they write a letter to your employer and your employer says, we stand by her, and by the way, I should say to your American listeners, my position is the position of British law. So, we do not have gender self-identification in this country. Male and female are really meaningful things, and they mean the things that you're conceived. In this country. So if your employer is willing to either ignore these people or write back to them saying, actually, Helen is stating the position in British law, we don't like bullies. She's an excellent employee. They go away. They don't come after you again. They go find somebody else whose employer is a coward.
And when you say they come after you, is that an email barrage? Is it really on Twitter? What are we talking about here when we talk about
it's all
people
of these
coming
things. I mean, it's possibly best not to talk about me personally, both because I try to keep my employer out of things to some extent, but also because my employer is the sort of person that just immediately slapped down this bullshit, and so we don't get very much of it.